One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
What is up, everybody? It is a Sunday afternoon here in Green Bay. You got my man Stu and myself, Charlie, from JC3 Cards and Collectibles. We are here for our weekly sales video. I am fresh off of watching a little bit of the NFL Pro Bowl game. I really don't understand what they're doing anymore. It is a flag football game and all kinds of skills challenges mixed in. It's gotten really confusing, but I get it. We don't want people getting hurt on that, but it's really not football anymore. So the game has evolved. So that game is actually still going on. I said, I saw enough of this. It's time to go talk to my friends in the low-end card business. So here we are. Stu and I are bringing you our sales for the week. It was a pretty good week. Pretty steady compared to last week. As we go through there, you'll see a couple little blips on the radar, but overall, nothing to complain about. Still, football is king. I will say that. Definitely, let me get aligned here a little bit better. Football is king, and baseball's heating up, I think is kind of what I'll say. We also had the start of NASCAR this week. The season got underway with the exhibition race at the Clash at the Coliseum last night. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it yet, hit pause or skip ahead right now, because I am going to tell you that Denny Hamlin won the Clash at the Coliseum. So I don't think there's any points involved in that. It is an exhibition, but it is exciting to see, especially along with the new Netflix series. It's kind of a sister project to Drive to Survive on the F1 series. Now they've done one for NASCAR as well. Really the same alignment, same setup. It's pretty cool, actually. I found myself watching that for quite a bit. I actually buzzed through all the episodes already. But Denny Hamlin is actually featured in there quite a bit. What I love about these shows is you get to know the drivers, their personalities, you kind of build a profile, and it helps you root for some of these guys a little bit more. That I will say for sure. All right, so let's get into the sales for the week. Like I said, it was a good week. Relatively even with sales in the previous week. So I definitely am pleased with another week of sales. We continue to stay steady here. Let me add up the numbers for the week. Let's take a look here. So we've got our impressions, our page views, and our quantity sold. Now remember, we've talked about this before, but I will happily go through this one more time if you haven't seen this before. So we speak of the impressions as really people walking by your store. These are people that walk by, they're looking in your storefront window. Do I want to go in there? They're defined as items that are presented to users on the internet with your products one click away. Now, page views are when somebody clicks on that and actually goes into your items, takes a closer look at it with the possible intent of buying. And then, of course, quantity sold is when you've got a conversion rate. You've turned that foot traffic into a sale. So as you can see, overall, I would classify the week as relatively stable compared to last week. So a little bit of a reduction in impressions or window traffic, if you will. but slightly more in page views. So let's see, impressions down 8.3%, which is a negligible amount. Page views are up 1.3%, which is also a negligible amount. And then quantity sold at 51, that is down just slightly, 5.6%. Off of memory, I think, last week was maybe 53 cards, something like that. So really not a huge difference as we look at that. Pretty steady and stable, I would say. Stu likes it. He feels good about it as well. So can't really complain about what we saw last week. It's staying pretty steady, especially when I look at those impressions, 671,000 impressions for the week. That is about 110 to 120,000 impressions every week. Imagine if you had a brick and mortar store and 110 to 120,000 people were walking by every day. You would be ecstatic with that. That is a heck of a lot of foot traffic. And then when you look at who's going in your store, anywhere from 150, well, let's say 125 to 175 people going in your store every day. That is a recipe for a successful business. So, I think you'd be happy with that. I know I am. I don't know that a brick and mortar store could get me the kind of numbers that eBay gets me. So that is fantastic. I'm very happy with that. Now, quantity sold. I do need to take some measures to try and continue some growth with this. I think after seeing some large growth in recent months, it's kind of flat now for a little bit. So I got to think about what's that next lever to pull to maybe kick it up another notch. One thing I wanted to point out this week is if you look at the daily sales, and this is Sunday through Saturday, I'm starting to see a trend. As we do this every week and I look at this chart more and more, I'm starting to see a trend. And that trend is the Friday and Sunday bumps. So I think of that as Fridays. A lot of people are getting paid. They're out having a couple drinks, or they're home relaxing finally after a long week of work. They're just flipping through different items on eBay. They're more inclined. They're feeling good. They're more inclined to make some purchases. Saturday is a day when I think a lot of people are busy with recreational activities or visiting friends and things like that. And then Sunday, people are chilling out again. And they're kind of looking back at the weekend. Maybe they're dreading going back to work on Monday, and they're trying to enjoy the end of their weekend, and they start flipping through some of those listings again. So I'm consistently seeing the highest sales of the week on Fridays and Sundays. So why do I want to think about that? Well, I want to think of it in terms of marketing. Are there things I can do with marketing that will really target those Friday and Sunday buys to maybe exponentially increase them even further? Or do I want to take the flip side approach, and do I want to think about what do I need to do to more entice buyers on Monday through Thursday and maybe on Saturday? Well, it's interesting. If we look at the impressions, those are fairly steady throughout the week. Maybe a little bit more on Sunday and Saturday, if you look at the top chart there. And then page views, definitely see some variability in those, but they're not strictly tied to those Fridays and Sundays like we see in the sales. We see quite a few views on Sundays, quite a few views on Saturdays, not quite so many views on a Friday. It actually seems that our conversion rate is much higher on a Friday. And I think that's that optimism. They're feeling good. They've got some extra cash in their pocket to spend or in their bank account. So those turn into more sales. So I think these are three pieces of sales and performance information that eBay gives you that I think are adding more valuable than some of the others. They're the three primary ones that I feel make sense to look at every week. So if we continue on to the next slide, we can see where the sales were going this week. So a couple of things stand out to me on this one. And number one is football is still king. Over a third of all my sales for the week came out of the football category. Then the second thing that sticks out to me is that baseball is heating up. Stu's a big baseball fan. He likes that. So spring training getting ever so closer. We're seeing some late off-season deals happening. I know my Brewers traded away Corbin Burns for a couple MLB-ready prospects from the Orioles. Teams are starting to finalize their rosters for spring training. And pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting in just the next couple of weeks. So we're starting to hear more buzz about baseball again. And that translates to some of those card sales. 21% of my card sales this past week came from baseball. Now, that is interesting to me also because most of my listings, the majority of my listings, are baseball items. Football has fewer listings, but I sold more football this week because of that playoff buzz. So when you think about that, that tells us the importance of media cycles and the buzz and the hype that goes into selling low-end cards. Whatever that buzz is going to help drive some of your sales. Coming in at a strong third is basketball, 14% there. Basketball season is in full swing. Would expect them to be up near the top there. So got some solid sales there. And then we mix in some auto racing. So as we said in the intro, the NASCAR season is kicking off again. The F1 season is just a couple weeks away. Some excitement brewing in the auto racing world. So good to see some sales there. Then we go into some non-sport with Marvel, some soccer, history. I continue to sell a couple of those Washington Chronicles cards every week, and we'll look at that a little bit more. Pro wrestling. So continue to sell a couple of those. I have a pretty extensive selection of wrestling offerings. So always good to see some of those sell every week. Sold some model cards in the last couple weeks. So that's interesting. Non-sport. Got a track and field offering that sold out there and a little bit of hockey. So hockey's still one of those areas I keep working on trying to expand in. I really got to get better with my knowledge of pro hockey, though, and the names that are hot. It's an opportunity for me that I intend to continue to grow with here in the near future. So that's the pie, if you will, for this week and where all my sales went. Let's dig into some of those specific categories, and we'll start with the big one, with football. So football was very strong this week. There you can see all my listings and how my listing titles look to the buyers. You can see what I sold and how much I sold them for. And then I also included this week whether or not they were promoted, best offers, and if they were seller initiated, because those are some important designations in the channels of your sales. If you're selling mostly promoted listings, you know that you have to price a little bit higher because you're going to get a selling fee, a little higher selling fee, a promotional fee, marketing fee, if you will, taken in eBay's cut. So Adam over at the Dollar Box and we talk a lot about using the dynamic promotion feature where that promotional rate will vary anywhere from about 9% to 15% every day, depending on where you need to be so that you're in a prominent listing position on eBay, on Google, all those places your offerings are presented. So if you know that the majority of your listings are selling that way, you definitely want to take notice of that and think about it when you're pricing items. In my case, what did I sell here? About 17 football cards, and it looks like about 4 of them sold promoted. The rest of them sold organically, and I had no additional fees on them. Now, that is interesting because I would venture to guess that the majority of these cards are listed with dynamic promotions. So I will typically not promote my offerings for the first month I have them listed. But after that, I promote everything. So the majority of my listings are in that dynamic promotions program, but that in no way, shape, or form means that I'm going to pay that listing fee, that dynamic promotions fee on every listing, because it only applies if the buyer accesses that item through the promotion process. So there's lots of other ways they can get to your listings without going through that promotions process. The second column there about how it's sold, quantity sold via best offer. So that is either, that is when I offered up a best offer and they accepted it. We came to terms on that. So you can see a handful of cards there where my best offers were sent out and accepted. But my favorite is that last one, quantity sold via seller-initiated offers. That means I did nothing with it, and a seller came to me and said, hey, would you take this on it? I love it when that happens. I've got a couple of them in there because that initially means they want this card, right? Like they are looking for this card. Let's see what we can do to get you this card. So looking through what sold this week, one of the big things that came to my mind was a 4-card sale of Joe Montana. And you can see those in the row right under the table. You can see the 4 Joe Montana cards there. And those are all from the same set. Those are all from 1995 Upper Deck Joe Montana Trilogy set. I just recently listed these. I think I have more I need to get out there. I just didn't have enough time to get them all out there. But one buyer bought every one of these together. That buyer paid $225 a piece for those. You know, I made a nice little tidy profit on each of those cards. And of course, with the multi-card sale, I can ship all 4 of those together and save on extra postage, extra shipping supplies. So that becomes a nice sale for me. You know, that's like a, let's see, $9 sale for me. And I can ship it all together. So that's one 64-cent metered envelope, one top. Well, I didn't even use a top loader. I used a Card Saver 2 on that. All 4 cards go into that Card Saver 2 together. They all get sleeved. If you have not seen how to pack those multi-card orders before, if you check out my how-to section, you will see a video this week where I believe it's called Thermal Label Printer Update, where I gave an update on my packing and shipping process now that I have a thermal label printer. And you will see me actually prepare those cards and send them out. Joe Montana is a Hall of Famer, widely considered one of the best quarterbacks of all time in the NFL. So not surprising I had sales there, but really awesome to see that a buyer grabbed 4 of them right away. And that is my cue to say, I need to get the rest of these out there. Plus, I have a box full of Joe Montana that I have just scratched the surface on listing. I bought a lot of Joe Montana cards a while back and have a lot of opportunity to list some more. So this tells me absolutely get those out there. You need to prioritize that so you can sell more of those. Let's run through the rest of these. At the top of the list, we've got a 2020 Panini Mosaic Super Bowl MVPs, Peyton Manning in a Colts Prism. So left-hand column, you will see in the middle of the page, you will see him in the white Colts jersey getting ready to throw. Made a nice $275 on that sale. Up next is one of the other GOATs, Tom Brady, 2022 Panini Mosaic Will to Win Mosaic, and that one is in the green Prism Mosaic. Again, the left-hand column, bottom left corner, you will see Tom Brady 12, TB12, sitting there in a throwing motion as well, just like Peyton. Solid card. I was able to sell that one for $325. Up next is a Kenny Pickett. I continue to sell some Kenny Pickett. You will see this one is a 2022 Panini Chronicles Magnitude Kenny Pickett rookie card for the Steelers. What is interesting about this one is, oh, sorry, we got a incidental click, premature click. We got an error in the listing here. You can see for whatever reason I was missing a part of a bracket. I usually have a hyphen in there. The key parts of that listing were correct, but had a couple missing characters in that, and it did not stop this from selling. You'll see that card in the top left corner. That is one of those acetate clear cards. That is sitting against a black mat when I took the picture. If I were to hold that up, you can see right through that, other than the image of Kenny Pickett and the little pedestal he's on. But I sold that for $2.50. I am a huge fan of the acetate cards, the clear cards. I am trying to build up quite a few of those in inventory because I want that to be a specialty in my store. Up next, Michigan is still selling after their national title. So I sold another 2023 Sage Artistry Silver Blake Corum from Michigan. That is in the bottom right corner. You will see Blake Corum in a full stride photo carrying the football there. That is an artist's rendering, I believe. That's why that set is called Artistry. Well, the image is a picture, but it's overlaid onto an artist's background. So a little bit different type of card. It's not a super high-end card. I was able to get $225 for that. Up next, we have another Kenny Pickett 2022 Skybox Metal Universe Retro Parallel of Kenny Pickett in his Pittsburgh days. So let's see. I believe that is actually that card in the left-hand column, second one from the top. That is in his Pitt University uni. So you've got the gold and really that looks more yellow to me. You've got yellow and blue. So that's his college uniform. I was able to get $2 for that. I'm a big fan of the Metal Universe sets. After that, we've got a Kirk Cousins card, 2021 Panini Mosaic Blue Reactive Prism of Kirk Cousins. Kirk is a pretty decent seller in the hobby. Don't sleep on him. There are a lot of people that like his cards. You will find him in the bottom row, second from the left. It's got that blue reactive. It's a sharp looking shimmering card. He's in scramble mode here looking for a receiver. I will tell you that my opinion is that even though Mosaic Prism is not a high-end set, it is very popular. A lot of people like the Prisms. I was able to sell that one for $3.50. Next up, a 2020 Panini Playoff Rookie Wave Red Parallel Jonathan Taylor rookie card for the Colts. That again is in that bottom row, third one from the right. It's got a nice refractive type of finish on it. It's got pops with a lot of color. It's got rookie wave along the left-hand side. It's got this stripe down the middle, and then the image kind of centered more towards the right side. Just a sharp card. I was able to sell that for $4.50. Then we have a 2022 Donruss Elite Spellbound R Green Justin Herbert. This is in your top right corner. This card was a little bit of a challenge to me. I have had this card for a little bit. I was asking quite a bit more. Ended up accepting an offer for $3 eventually because I was finding that the market that I thought was there for Justin Herbert is potentially not there any longer. You know, this was a green parallel, not the most rare parallel card. But these Spellbound cards are cool. I've got set myself. I've got the Trevor Lawrence pink Lawrence set on display in my office here. I thought I would be able to get twice that for this card. Had a lot of offers back and forth on that over the last month or so, and just couldn't get any takers. I finally said, you know what, I need to move on this. Still turned a profit on it. I got this out of a low-end box. Probably, I'm pretty sure it was $1 box. So I didn't pay pennies for this. But I was still able to turn a profit on this, which is what matters the most. Then Oh, we've got a basketball one mixed in here by mistake. I'm going to skip over that one. We've got a Topps Gold Label Holiday Matchups Fall, Rob Johnson and Mike Allstott. This is a cool card. It's in the bottom row, right in the middle of the screen. It is a die cut that looks like a pile of leaves. Just caught my eye in a value box one day, and I had to have it. Rob Johnson's not a big draw. Mike Allstott has got some hobby. He's got a decent fan base. I found myself wishing that Mike Allstott was with somebody else on this card, but I knew that just the design itself with that die cut and the fact that Mike Allstott was on that would be enough to turn this one, and I sold that for $2.99. And then at the Eau Claire show this past week, I found another one with different players on it. I scooped that one up as well. I don't think I've listed that one yet, so I need to get that one out there. Next up, we've got a 2022 Panini Phoenix Fire Forged Peyton Manning of the Denver Broncos. So right next to that Jonathan Taylor and Holiday matchups card. Bottom row again, second one in from the right. Really cool design. I've said before, and I'll say it again, Phoenix is one of my favorite sets. This Fire Forged insert is pretty cool. It's got a nice shine to it. Pretty cool image. It looks like it's coming out of a forge with sparks and molten metal and things like that. He's in the orange Denver Broncos 18 uni. Just a cool card. I knew I'd be able to turn this one, no problem. I got $2.99 for that. A 2023 Panini Mosaic Blue Reactive, so another blue reactive prism card. This one of Jason Kelce of the Eagles. So again, in the bottom row, right next to the Kirk Cousins we looked at earlier. So third from the left-hand corner, you will see Jason Kelce in a typical lineman stance in action. The knees are bent, the head's up. He's got his back flat. Sounds like coach speak there. But I grabbed this. It was in a value box, and Kelce had announced that this was going to be his last season. He's got a podcast with his brother. All of those things that make him popular, and his name gets repeated out there in media circles a lot. So I knew that there would be a market for this, and it looks like that was a good play. I was able to sell that one for $5.99. Now, if you think about that, it's interesting because the Kelce sold for $5.99. The Kirk Cousins sold for $3.50. Both of those blue reactive prisms sold pretty well. They were in different years. Kirk Cousins was in 2021. Kelce was in a 2023. The difference there is really that media cycle. Kelce is hot right now with, the Eagles having another playoff run. And him announcing his retirement. I think that's the difference in that $3.50 to $5.99. So good sale there. Then we've got the Joe Montana cards we talked about already. I'm going to jump ahead since we talked about those. Then we've got a 2023 Panini Mosaic National Pride Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. So a couple things going for this card. One, I love the national prides. I think there's a good, strong market out there for anything patriotic like that. So I always pick up anything with the stars and stripes as a background or theme. The other is Jared Goff and the Lions just had a good playoff run as well. If this was his Rams card, it probably would not have sold as well. Not a huge moneymaker, but a steady seller that you can flip. I ended up taking $1.50 on this one. I think I probably could have held out longer and gotten $1.99 on this. I just felt like the time was right, and I wanted to flip that one and move on to something else. So I took that $1.50. Potentially, even though my margin was super slim on that, my profit margin, potentially I gained a repeat customer by working with them on that. And then finally in the football category, I've got a 1994 Upper Deck Joe Montana with the Kansas City Chiefs. That one is in the right-hand column, second one from the top, right under the Justin Herbert R card. That's an older card, 1994. I got $225 for that. Great players like Joe Montana. I don't think it matters what uniform they're wearing, what team they were playing for in that card. I think the name alone will sell. So when you get those multi-time Super Bowl winners that are in the Hall of Fame, you can feel a little more relaxed on what you're buying from them because anything will go. So $225 for that one is a nice little sale as well. You know, there's a lot of those cards out there. So to get $225 for that yet today is pretty impressive. So that's our football category for the day. Let me know what you think of those. Which one was your favorite card? What do you think was the best sale out of there? Are there any surprises as you went through that you were surprised to see those cards selling? Do you think that my prices were off on any of them? Could I have gotten more if I held out a little bit more, do you think? Are there some you're surprised at how much I did get for it? So let me know in the comments what you think of those. And for now, we will move on to our next category, the baseball category. So 20-some% of my sales last week were in the baseball category as things get hot. Ohtani. People can't get enough Ohtani. He's a steady seller every single week. If I see any Ohtani in the value boxes, I pick it up because it's almost a sure sale. This week, you can see a couple different Ohtanis that I sold, 3 as a matter of fact, and we'll go through those now. So heading the list, we've got a 2013 Topps opening day. Opening day stars Joey Votto with the Cincinnati Reds. This is in the right-hand column, second one from the top. This is a lenticular card. When you hold those up to the light and angle them a little bit, the image changes. So it's kind of like a motion picture. Joey Votto, he's retiring as well. So I knew that his stuff would have a market to sell as people look at the memories they have of him playing for the Cincinnati Reds, and they'd want to pick up some of his cards. So I've sold a couple now. I still have some more to list. I need to get those out there. But was happy to see this one go because this is actually a card that I've had out there for a while. It wasn't until Joey Votto announced his retirement plans that I started to get some interest around it. This is from one of the initial sets that got me into card selling this past year when I pulled out all my sets that I had been collecting and really had stopped collecting. But 2012, 2011, 2013, those were kind of the first years that I really started trying to build a complete set. And opening day is a set that Topps is no longer making, at least for now. So I have a little bit of appreciation for that set. Was happy to see this Joey Votto card go. I was able to get $2.50 for that. Up next is my last sale of the week. This came in late Saturday night, 2023 Bowman Platinum Jordan Walker rookie card. I was able to get $2.50 for that. That's in the bottom row, second from the left, just to the left of the Atlanta Braves mascot. So these Bowman Platinums are pretty cheap. There's not a lot of high ceiling on these cards, I guess is the way I would put it. But they have a nice eye appeal. They've got a holographic, if you want to say refractive finish to them. You can see in the image that I have here that when I take a picture, I try to catch some of that prismatic refractive finish on that. So you'll see a little bit of the greens and yellows and blues in there. As it catches the light, it changes the colors. But I think, and Adam at the Dollar Box and I talk about this all the time, we think Bowman Platinum is a sneaky play. We think it doesn't get enough love because of that eye appeal. It just looks pretty slick. It looks modern. You know, I like to get prospects and rookies out of that. I sell quite a few of them. So don't sleep on Bowman Platinum just because it's a low-end set. Up next, we've got a 2019 Topps Grapefruit League Greats, Roberto Clemente of the Pirates. You'll find that in the bottom right corner. Very cool insert set. there were Cactus League greats and Grapefruit League greats. I've got quite a few of them because this was still in my heavy collecting days. You know, it's funny. I didn't appreciate them as much in the moment when I got them. But in the last few months when I was going through my sets, I pulled those out and I was like, that is an awesome set, insert set. So I've sold a couple of these so far. There were some Jeters. Might have been a Babe Ruth in one of them I had. And now this Clemente. I know there's a few others. I'm not thinking of the names, player names on them. But this one I was able to sell for $1.80. Looks like I took a little bit of a lower offer on this because my floor for listing is $1.99. So you can see I came down a little bit on this one. Again, it was a new buyer. Sometimes I will take a lower offer when I think I could hold out for more because I'm trying to entice a new buyer. And I want to give them a reason to think about me again and come back again. Up next, we have the Big O, Shohei Ohtani. We've got a 2023 Topps Allen and Ginter short print, Shohei Ohtani with the Angels. This is card number 396. Now, I am looking at this one. It's the top right-hand corner. To me, just as my own opinion, when I look at that card, that one does not stand out to me. That is not a card that I would seek out, especially compared to the other ones that we have in our sales this week. It's a nice card. It is just not something I would look for. But I listed that one. I was able to get $275 for that, and that's on name alone. There's probably a set of buyers that look at that and say, that's a classy card. Nice smile on Ohtani's face. You know, that is just an A+ card. It's just a difference in opinions. For me, that's not one of my favorite designs of a card. Do I like Allen Ginter? I do. I like it for the oddball stuff I get into it more. But it's just interesting to me. Sometimes you sell a card and you're like, you know, that's not a card I'd be looking for. But there's somebody out there who does. There's a buyer for everything. You just have to figure out how to get together with them. Up next is another Ohtani card. This one I really do like. 2023 Topps Throwback Thursday, 1971-72 Topps Hockey Retro Set. This was part of a multi-card set. I believe it was a 15-card set. No, it was more than 15. I'm trying to think of exactly how that was named, but this is like a Topps online exclusive. So this is a limited edition, I would call it. It is not serial numbered, but you could only get this off the Topps website, and they only printed a shorter print run, depending on orders. It is the retro hockey design, which I like. So you can see that one in the left-hand column, kind of in the middle of the screen. So let's see, 3 down from the top left corner. So it's got that oval insert picture. You got the Angels and kind of a Comic Sans thick print, kind of angled on the top. And then you've got the classic A's logo in a circle there. I think that's a really cool card. That is a card that would make me say, oh, I need that. So happy to see I sold that. I was able to sell that for $13.99. Now, those cards are not what I would consider low-end cards because they're limited edition, because they're exclusive to the website. You do have to pay a little bit more. I want to say that on a per card basis, I had to pay around $6-7 per card. So I don't buy those a lot, but there are certain ones I will get because I can get a return like this. If it's the right player, especially if I can get multiple copies of that card at a discount, the more you buy, the little cheaper it'll be. But $13.99 is, you know, I'm pretty sure I doubled my investment on this one. Up next is the 2012 Topps Opening Day Atlanta Braves mascot. You've got the Atlanta Braves mascot card right there in the middle of your screen. I made that one a little bit bigger just because it's fun. I like the mascot cards. I did collect this complete set of mascots in the 2012 set. and that's the opening day set again. You can see, it's opening day because they'll put the opening day banner on it. There's a specific word for that type of decoration. They use them all the times on opening days. Bunting. I think they call it a bunting. Presidential events often have those buntings on them as well. So they're the same images as the flagship set most often, if not always, but you will tell them apart because of that opening day logo with the bunting on it. So the Atlanta Braves mascot, I was able to get $3 for that. That is a nice sale on a card that was about a 20-cent per card set to buy when I bought them. And that was Rippin' Blasters, and it comes to about 20 cents a card. That's another low-end set, entry-level set that you can get a good return on if you get the right cards. Up next, we've got a combo card, and this one is impressive. It's one of my favorite cards out there. I've turned this one a number of times. It is a 2019 Topps Now review of 2018 Topps Now, and it features the threesome of Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and Albert Pujols. I was able to sell this for $17.99. I will tell you, this is a card that I watch for on eBay all the time. I don't get it as often as I used to. When I started doing this early last year, I seem to be able to find these cards for about $5, $5 to $8. Like once a month, I would find one that I could purchase, and then I was flipping them for 15 to 20. I will say that was my honey hole for a while, but it's kind of dried up. The market's raised on this particular card. I kind of figured it would eventually, especially when I was selling them for $15 to $20 a piece every time. So this one, I only grossed about $2 in profit on this one because I had to pay up a little bit more. I actually purchased this one. I was hoping it was in good enough condition that I could consider grading that, because if I could get a PSA 10 on this one, that is a card value that's going to be over $100 now. I believe it goes from anywhere $150 to $200. It looked pretty good when I ordered it, so I took a shot at it. And when I got it under a magnifying glass, I saw a couple of things that I couldn't see with the naked eye. But once I got it under magnification, I thought, well, I'm probably not going to get a PSA 10 from this one. So then I turned around and sold that one. So I got a nice sale for $17.99 on that one. Next up, we've got a 2023 Bowman Platinum Renowned Rookies insert of Anthony Volpe from the Yankees. Yankees always sell, and you'll see I've got a couple of them in our sales this week. Every week you'll see some Yankees. If I think back to previous weeks we've done this, I think we've had Jeters and Mattingly's. I mean, there's such a huge fan base for the Yankees. There is a good market out there. Here again, we're in that Bowman Platinum mix. Don't sleep on Bowman Platinum. Or go ahead, sleep on them, and I'll buy them up. I'll turn them. That's okay if you don't want to mess with them. That's just better for me. But I will tell you, if you're serious about this, don't sleep on Bowman Platinum. It's not a bad-looking insert. Volpe's in... I believe this image was used in multiple sets for Topps. If you're not familiar with Bowman Platinum, it is manufactured by Topps. It is an official rookie card. Kind of got this entryway around him. He's kind of framed up and got the bold Renowned Rookies logo. So if you're looking for it on the slide here, this is in the left-hand column, second from the top, right underneath the Ohtani combo card and right above the old hockey retro Ohtani card. Looks good. It's got that refractive finish to it again, so you can see a little bit of color in that. Just a classy little card. I like it. I got $2 for that one. Next up, we have an auction card. Now, I don't do too many auctions, but occasionally I'll have a card that I want to do something different with. Or maybe I want to move it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do what I want with it. And some I'll put in my 10 cents box. Occasionally I'll put some in an auction. This one I put in an auction because this is Ronald Acuna's little brother, I believe. So the next one up is a 2023 Bowman Luisangel Acuna Texas Rangers prospect. That is in the right-hand column, third one down, one from the bottom. So right above Roberto Clemente and right below Joey Votto. You will see that is a paper card. It is the basic prospect set. I thought I wasn't. So here's what I would tell you about what I do sometimes with auction. It is market research for me. I think that's the best way for me to explain it. I looked at Luis Angel Acuna and I thought, is he going to get a rub from his brother's hobby value? I don't know how well he's been doing in the minors. Let me put it up for auction and see what it goes for. Well, my minimum bid was $99. I got one bidder on that who said, I'll buy that for $1. That tells me that my gut was right and that I probably don't want to list two more of those. They'll just go in my 10-cent or quarter boxes moving forward. But I was able to move the card. I didn't make a profit on it. I basically lost a dime on that when you look at the overall. But I gained some knowledge on that. I learned something about that player that I didn't know before and will help my business moving forward. So occasionally, I think it makes sense to use an auction in that way. And that's what I did. Next up, we've got a 2022 Panini Chronicles Crusade Hollow Prism Shohei Ohtani. So there's another Ohtani. Actually, our fourth one of the day. I think I counted 3 before, but we had a fourth one. So that's in the bottom row, second from the right. I got an affinity for these Crusade sets. Really, any set that puts an image of some kind of wings behind the player. So there is a set, another set that shows dragon wings. I think it's the fire sets. Panini Phoenix does some of that. They'll put some dragon wings behind it too. But any of those wings, when they position them right around the image of the player, I'm a sucker for that. So I will pick those up when I see them. It's one of those things, if I like it, I'm going to assume that a lot of other people like it because I am Joe Average, right, Stu? So I honestly have that mindset that when I think something, I think there's a large percentage of the market out there that's going to think the same thing, because when I do different polls and things like that, I typically fall into that center. I know that's wonderfully boring, right? But it helps me in cases like this to make a good decision on buying a card that I can flip. So in this case, I was able to sell this Ohtani card for $475. Not a bad sale there. And our last baseball card of the day is a 2023 Topps Gold Label Class 2 Blue Parallel of Luis Severino of the New York Yankees. You'll see that in the bottom left corner of our sales here. And sharp, classy looking card. You got the dual image there. We've talked before in my sales videos that I am a huge fan of Topps Gold Label. This one's a little older, in a 2019 variety. It's serial numbered out of 99. I was able to sell that for $449. I had hoped to get a little bit more out of it, but sometimes things don't pan out as well as you'd like. But I have no complaints about $449. I definitely turned a sizable profit on that card. You know, it's a market that I know I can sell to, and did exactly that. So I can't complain about that. I mean, pretty decent baseball sales here. I think those will grow as we get into the minor league, not the minor league season, the spring training season here. I think we'll see more sales, and it may even overtake football as baseball takes off. Football gets left behind and the Super Bowl is over. So not a bad week of baseball. Let's go on to the basketball bucket. All right, some pretty decent sales here as well. And there was one listing that I had on the baseball cards that I think was listed on the wrong page. It was actually that Scottie Pippen card. Let's go back and look at that for a second. Where did that Scottie Pippen go? Scottie Pippen. Oh, it was on the football one. Let's back up one more slide. Pickett, Scottie Pippen. It was that NBA defensive all first team. Okay. So I do have this on the basketball slide as well. So top left corner, you'll see that NBA all defensive team. That is a 94-95 Fleer NBA all defensive first team card of Scottie Pippen with his time with the Bulls. I was able to sell that for $2.99. Fairly common card, but the Bulls have some play in this business. Up next, we'll go to the top of the list now. A 2023 Sport Kings Volume 4 Mini of Larry Bird with the Boston Celtics. You'll see that in the right-hand column. Middle image there. Sometimes when I take images of these minis, I'm kind of torn. Should I... Here's a good thing for you to comment on in the comments of this video, and let me know your thoughts on this. When it's a mini, should I take full-size pictures of the card with minimized borders like this one is here, or should I leave more of a border to make it clearly show it is a mini? And what I mean by that is, if you were to compare this side by side to any of these other cards, if I had the same square footage in that image, the mini card would show a lot more black for the borders. I usually clip those out to take up the bulk of the image size. And sometimes I wonder, boy, especially with these Sport Kings, the images can get confusing between the regular size, standard size card and the image for the mini. So I was thinking, maybe I need to start leaving more of the border on the minis so that it is clear to a buyer that is the mini. Yes, it's in the title as well, but our eyes do a lot of talking these days, okay? So this Larry Bird mini, I was able to sell for $2.25. I have a love-hate relationship with minis. I hate the extra handling I have to do. They're harder to keep in a good condition. They're easier to get lost in a shuffle of cards, but there's a market out there for minis. People like them. So I definitely buy them up when I see them. When I pull them out of blasters, I definitely hold on to them. But it takes a little more work in handling them. But the trade-off is good. So $2.25 for this one. Up next, we've got a 2020-2021 Panini Donruss Marvels, Paul George. It's a top right corner. I've sold a few of these in my previous videos you've seen. This one I got $3.99 for it. I'm a big fan of the Marvels inserts. Anything that adds an element of comics or superheroes, I'm all in. I buy those anytime I see them in a value box, and I turn them pretty regularly. Paul George isn't a huge name in the game, but he is still considered a top player for his team. He's been to a number of all-star games, so he's got some hobby on him. I figured this would be a decent sale. Pretty happy with $3.99 for that. Up next, a 2019-2020 Panini Mosaic Old School Green Parallel of Dennis Rodman with the Bulls. I prefer Bulls Dennis Rodman cards to his time with any other team. I think with the possible exception of his time with the Pistons. I will buy some, let me correct that. I will buy a lot of different Dennis Rodman uni cards. But my two favorite are Pistons and Bulls. I think that's where he did the bulk of his Hall of Fame type work. Obviously, the Pistons were his original team where he was a defensive ace, rebounding ace. Every year he was at the top of the stat lists for those categories. But then he went to the Bulls and he was just as dominant before he went on to, I think, San Antonio, played for the Lakers, maybe another stop somewhere. He was not as dominant in those stops. So I think the real market for Dennis Rodman is Pistons and Bulls. Again, we go back to these mosaic prisms. People like them. It doesn't matter how many were printed. If people like them, they're going to buy them. This particular one, I was able to make the sale for $4.99. Now, part of that is because of the stained glass background. I love the stained glass background. They do it with a lot of different sets. I should say different sports. If I see them in a dollar box, I'm going to buy them every time. Stained glass is just awesome to me in a card design. Up next, we've got 2000-2001 Topps Stars Walk of Fame Jason Kidd. So a little bit older card. I was not familiar with the Topps Stars set. You will see that in the left-hand column right in the middle. Jason Kidd with the Phoenix Suns and a Walk of Fame insert. Kind of a cool card. It's got a good refractive finish, hollow finish to it, I guess we should say. Talking about, it's funny because Topps, you want to talk about hollow or refractors, and then Panini, you want to talk prisms, but it's all really kind of the same stuff. This one I was able to sell for $4.99. I had some doubts when I listed this one. Listed it a little bit higher based on some comping, and I wasn't sure it would go because there's a lot of Jason Kidd cards out there. I have some other Jason Kidd cards out there that I have not been as successful selling. And then, as I said, I wasn't familiar with Topps Stars as a set, but I knew this had eye appeal. So that was why I took a chance on this one. And lo and behold, I did find a buyer for $4.99. And then we've got the GOAT of basketball. Not just the GOAT, but the GOAT of basketball, Michael Jordan. 1991-92 NBA Hoops MVP Michael Jordan. Iconic pose here. The ball's in one hand. He's elevating. I don't quite see the tongue out. That would be the icing on the cake if the tongue was out. But it's an image we see a lot. Michael Jordan still has hobby to this day. Should have no problem selling Jordan cards. This one I was able to sell for $3.99. And then our last basketball card for the day, 2020-2021 Panini Donruss Optic Winner Stays insert of LeBron James in his Los Angeles Lakers uni. There's a bottom right corner. It's a decent card. Donruss Optic is a solid brand. It's not top, but it's also not the entry level line. So it makes it for a nice play. If I see Donruss Optic, I typically give him a second look in a value box. LeBron James is a tricky player in low-end reselling. The name is huge. We all know King James. Dominant in the game, still playing, 20-some years in. He's 40 years old, I think now. Came straight out of high school. I remember the news when he was coming out of high school. It was such a big thing. Great player. Does not have the same status as a Michael Jordan in the hobby. Does not have the same status as a lot of great players in the NBA. And LeBron, I think there's no doubt he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But I do not see his sales volume at the same level as other players of his caliber. I'm not sure why that is. Part of it may be that his personality is a little bit of a turnoff to some people. He's a little cocky. He knows he's good. He's not afraid to tell you how good he is. I remember that was always the knock on him in his early days too. And he puts on a big show, big production all the time. I remember the decision. Oh my gosh. Can we talk about the decision on SportsCenter for 3 weeks, please, again? When he went to, I believe that was, oh gosh, was that when he made the decision to stay with Cleveland? And then there was another time when he went to the Heat. No, he went to the Heat. He won his title, and then he went back to Cleveland and won another title with them. So, I mean, look, give the guy his props. He is a generational player. He knows how to work the media. He knows how to work his image and likeness. He's made bajillions, I'm sure. But in terms of what we do and being low-end card sellers, his value is just not always there. So I say that not as a knock on him. It's more of an oddity. I would think he would sell better but he just doesn't for some reason. On this particular insert, I was able to make a sale for $2.30. And honestly, if you were to put this all in a vacuum, I think that should be at least a $3.99 card. That's kind of where I'm at with it, if I think about just his accolades and what he's done on the basketball court. But the market's just not there for him. It's interesting. All right. Those are our three big categories today. We'll kick through a couple more here of some of the odds and ends that sold this week. We talked about NASCAR kicked off last night with his exhibition season. F1, a couple weeks away. They'll be kicking off as well with their first circuit race. So we had a nice chunk of NASCAR and F1 that sold this week. Really just one NASCAR, 3 F1 cards. The F1 cards are interesting because I also sold an F2 car in this. So when you look at the priority of what sells in the F1 sets, the cars are a little bit lower. What you're really looking for are the portrait shots. Those are the professional photographers set up to get a distinct image, a nice clean image of the race car driver. The cars typically are kind of an afterthought. And then the F2s are kind of like prospects, but it doesn't have the same type of prospect fishing that you see in Major League Baseball. At least I haven't noticed it yet. So it was interesting to see an F2 car sell in this. Not the driver, but the car image. You can see the driver, but he's in his helmet. If you didn't know the design that team uses, you would have no idea who that driver is in there. So again, nice to see some motorsports sales here. Let's start going through these. So we'll start at the top of the list. 2022 Panini Donruss Racing, Ryan Blaney, a round of 16 insert. So that's the top left corner. It's a sharp looking card. It's that was actually, as I look at that, I think I undersold on that one. I sold that for $1.75. I probably should have held out. That's a card I would have liked to have had a do-over on. That is a prism design on that card. What do they call that? I think it's the retail prism. It looks like fireworks behind them. Nice gold border on that. The gold isn't that much of a big deal, but it has good eye appeal. And Ryan Blaney, I believe he won the Cup last year, the NASCAR Cup. So his name is big right now. He's heavily featured on the new Netflix series. I should have gotten more for this card. Again, sometimes I will sell a card low to try and get a new buyer in the hopes that they come back or get a multi-card sale. This one, I at least still made a profit, though. I probably made 50 to 75 cents on this card, if not better. Actually, as I think of this, that was probably a 20-cent buy for me. I think I got that at a local card show. I remember buying quite a few cards at. You're probably at about $1.15, $1.20 for everything invested in that card with shipping and handling, maybe promotions on it. So then, that becomes about a 55-cent card. Not too bad, but I feel like I could have done better on that. And then we've got our F1 cards. Mad Max, first F1 card we'll talk about. He is the man in F1 Motorsports today. 2022 Topps F1 Lights Out, #1, Max Verstappen. You'll see that in the top right corner. Now, the Lights Out is kind of a low-end, entry-level set as opposed to the flagship set. They're paper cards. I think they print quite a few of them. And then I also understand they print different ones in every country. So they may print 3 million in the U.S. They may print another 3 million in India. So there's a lot of them that go around. But I think there's set builders that really like to go after these. And Mad Max is the name you want these days. I was able to sell this one for $2.99. That is basically on Max Verstappen's name alone. There are plenty of other ones in this set that I would put out for $1.99, but Mad Max, He is a hot name right now, and hopefully will be for a few years yet. Up next, the 2022 Topps Chrome Sapphire F1. Love the Topps Chrome Sapphire. They are so sharp. That blue cracked ice. This was a Carlos Sainz of Team Ferrari, I believe. You will see that one, let's see, to the left side of the screen, underneath the table. He's a popular driver. He's been doing this for a number of years now. Ferrari is like the dream team for a lot of drivers and a lot of fans. The iconic red. Again, it's a car image. It is not the driver image. So these are typically a lower tier. I was able to sell that one for $2.02. Kind of an interesting amount on that one. I'm not sure how it got to $2.02. I don't remember doing that. That must have been a buyer offer, and I was like, okay, we'll take $2.02. Because I like to deal in quarter increments, typically, sometimes a dime increment. I don't think I've ever sent an offer out to someone with 2 cents on it. And then finally in the F1 market, here's that F2 card. 2022 Topps Chrome Sapphire F1. Frederic Vesti of the F2 circuit. So that is in the right-hand side from the center of the screen. And again, right under the table, underneath those quantity sold via promoted and quality sold via best offers columns. So again, it is the card image, not the driver image. F2 is like minor league baseball, if you're looking to equate it to something. It is a learning circuit. So there's F1 at the top. F2 is the next level down where the drivers are emerging in kind of that final qualifying school for F1. And then there's even F3. And then before that, there's kart racing, where most of these guys start as 10-year-olds a lot of times. It's almost like soccer in that aspect. A lot of these F1 drivers, because there's only 20 of them in F1, a lot of these guys, they start at a young age. They will relocate to a kart school and their family will invest all their money into karting, learning how to drive, learning how to handle these high-speed karts. They'll take the governors and kick them up so that it's, you go to your local go-kart track, you're probably going 15 to 20 miles an hour. These go-karts that they race in on these circuits are probably going 60, 70 miles an hour. So that is your first taste of racing if you want to be an F1 driver. You start on the karts, work your way up to F3, then F2. Then if you're lucky enough, you will get an offer to join one of the F1 teams. So really interesting to me that I sold one of these. I think this is the first F2 card that I sold. I haven't even listed all of them. Sometimes I get them, I throw them in my 10-cent box. Why I listed this one is because it was the Sapphire. I hold the Sapphire cards in very high esteem, especially for F1. I was able to sell this for $1.99, which is my floor for listings in my store. And that's what I would expect on this card. So I think that was a solid sale. It tells me I have an opportunity with F2 to list a little more and potentially sell a little more. All right. Up next, we've got our Marvel category. So it continues to be solid, if not spectacular. They are solid sellers. I've got a lot more of this I can list, and I feel pressure to get it out there because every week I have some Marvel cards that I can go with. First on the list is a 2021-22 Upper Deck Marvel Annual Dr. Doom. So that is in that bottom row to the left of center. You can see Dr. Doom there. That's an insert card. I was able to sell that for $275. Relatively uneventful card. I mean, there's no refractive or prism or anything like that, but little rarer numbers because it was an insert. I think it was like 1 per box or something like that. But Dr. Doom is an iconic character that kind of helped make that sale. And like I said, $275 for that. Not going to sneeze at that. And then up next, I have a couple from the same set. I've got 2 cards from the 1993 Skybox Marvel Universe Series 4 Red Foil 2099 Imagining. I sold both a copy of the Vulture 2099 card and the Doom 2099 card. So again, Doom selling. Each of those I sold for $5 a piece. And that is back-to-back weeks where I've sold some of those. I was sitting on those for a while, meaning to get them listed. Just got them listed a couple weeks ago. Seeing some steady sales out of those, and they're going for about $5 a piece. Really nice sales. That is an awesome card set. If you've never seen it, you see it fire engine red finish there. It's got foil wording on it. Really good artwork. It's one of those sets that I held in my hand and I really admired it while I had it, while I was listing it. Even times when I say, "Ooh, do I want to keep a few of these cards for my own collection?" But I am listing them all, and they've been decent sellers for me so far. So $5 a piece, I'm really happy with. And then our last Marvel card of the week. This is a character I was not familiar with at all. This is from a 1994 Fleer Ultra X-Men Team Triptych Gold Team insert for Bishop, and red foil writing on this one. It's not necessarily a parallel, but I did call out the red foil writing. I was able to sell this for $8. And like I said, this is a character that I do not know at all. If any of you are familiar with Bishop, let me know. Tell me some of the backstory. What makes him so great? I'm familiar with a lot of Marvel characters growing up in the 80s and 90s to an extent. And I thought I knew most of them, but Bishop is not a character I had ever heard of. So great to see that selling. I intend to get much more Marvel out there in my store because it's proven itself as steady sellers. So let me know what you think of the auto racing and Marvel categories here. Any surprises, anything that you think I should have got more for, anything that catches your eye on some of these particular cards, put it in the comments and let me know. And then we've got one more bucket of card sales here, kind of those onesie-twosie categories. We've got some soccer, we've got some hockey, we've got some track and field, some WWE, some history, all of those random diversification listings that I have out there. Some of these I want to grow to be more. But for me, I've talked about before, I really want to diversify my listings and have more than just baseball, more than just football, more than just basketball, the big three, right? Let's get a little bit of everything out there so you can do some one-stop shopping with some folks. So had a decent amount of sales when you look at these this week. First up, we've got a couple of historic cards from Historic Autographs. They're from the Washington Chronicles set of 2022. They're both inserts in that set. I've had good luck selling the inserts from this set. I have not sold much for the base cards yet, so that may prove to be a problem for me because I bought a full box of these one day just out of curiosity, looking for some autographs. I didn't get an autograph, but I did get some nice parallels, some nice inserts on this. So here I sold a 2022 Washington Chronicles Alloy Refractor of Benedict Arnold. So everybody knows the story of Benedict Arnold. He's taking on an iconic place in our language as Americans. As we battled the British for independence, Benedict Arnold was a traitor. So his name has become synonymous with traitors even to this day. I knew with that kind of iconic history, that one would sell. So you'll see him in that right-hand column, the second card down. It's a full portrait pose. That alloy refractor's got some nice color on it. It almost looks like it's got a metal alloy on it, kind of like the metal cards. If you were to see that in your hand up close, it's really sharp. And then I also sold the Aurora parallel of the Battle of Trenton. Now, this one was a serial numbered card out of 45. So I, again, thought I would have no problem selling this one. What I really thought, what went through my mind when I went through this Washington Chronicles set is history buffs and even teachers, history teachers. If I was going to teach my kids some things about history, I would use this set to share with them some information because it's interactive. And it's something different. It's not just reading a textbook. They're going through trading cards. And to them, that's fun, right? So that was my thought process when I purchased this. I was like, I'm taking a chance, but I think there's some options out there for buyers. And so far, it's panning out. You can see there for the Alloy Refractor, I was able to make the sale for $9.99. So essentially $10 on that card. And then for the Aurora Parallel, out of 45, I was able to make the sale for $13. So those two cards got me $22. I believe this set sold, what did I pay for it? It was not that expensive. It's possible that was $30. So with a couple cards, I've got the majority of my money back on that, and I still have a lot more cards available to sell. Not a bad transaction on that one. Up next, we've got my lone hockey card of the week. Hockey, Stu. Hockey. I've got to grow my hockey offerings and grow my sales in hockey. I know there's a huge fan base out there. I need to continue to learn more about it, find the right ones so that I can get more hockey sales. I did sell a relic card this week. So this is a 2019-2020 Upper Deck Rookie Materials Trent Frederick of the Bruins, the Boston Bruins. A couple things going in my favor there. It is a rookie card, and it is the Boston Bruins fan base, which is very diehard. I was able to sell that for $5. Nice thin relic card, so I was able to ship that in an eBay standard envelope, and get that 64-cent shipping, so it didn't eat up a lot of my profits by shipping it ground advantage, as you have to do with some thick relics. Up next, one of the more unique sales, at least surprising to me, and this is the second one of this type I have sold in a couple weeks now. 2022 Upper Deck Goodwin Champions Kate Bach. So Kate Bach is the bottom center card here. As you can see, that is a model, and she's in her high-end fashion outfit here. I don't know why people are buying model cards. It's not anything I would seek out. These come in the Goodwin Champions. It's not like I choose them. But I was like, well, let's put them out there, and maybe set collectors are buying these to just complete the set. That's the only thing I can think of. So I put them out there relatively inexpensive. I think I list them at $1.99. I took an offer for $1.50 on this one. We'll see if those continue to sell. Definitely a surprise for me to see that I've sold a couple of them now. And then we have a couple soccer cards, another market I'm trying to grow in. 2022 Upper Deck Goodwin Champions Splash of Color insert. Well, let me think about that. Is that an insert or a parallel? I think it's an insert. Splash of Color, Diogo Jota. Hopefully that's how you pronounce his name. If you're a member of his family, please do not be offended. That card I was able to sell for $1.75. I do not know that player. I don't know if he's an up-and-comer or if he is already having success. But I took a shot. I thought it was a nice insert card. The Splash of Colors, I think, often go pretty well just because they look sharp. I was happy to take a little bit lower offer on that. Again, some of these cards, you put them out there and it's kind of like market research. Let's find out. Now, if I get more Splash of Color soccer cards, even if it's a player I don't know, I might be more willing to list that out there and kind of have an idea of what I can get for them. And then the big soccer card of the week, for me anyway, 2023 International Trading Card Day, Lionel Messi. I know I'm probably not pronouncing that right either because I am not a diehard soccer fan. Feel free to correct me in my pronunciation of Lionel Messi. So this is, I believe, in his World Cup kit. If I look at that a little bit closer, yeah, that was in the World Cup. So I think he was playing for Argentina, was it? I can't quite see the details on that card. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. But I was able to make this sale for $5. I've got some additional copies of this one too. This one I picked up at a Green Bay card show. Beat Adam at the dollar box over to the soccer box one day. It doesn't happen often, but this day I did it. And I cleaned out the majority of these International Trading Card Day soccer cards. I know I left a little meat on the bone for him in that box. He's he's made a couple sales. He likes to tell me about the rookie that I missed in there. But, you know, Messi is one of the biggest names in soccer, so I knew I would have a good sale on this. Happy to get $5 for that. And this is not that rare of a card. Lots of these were printed. They're paper. They're kind of like Bowman paper cards. So $5 is a tremendous sale for that particular card. Then we've got some more Sport Kings. A 2023 Sport Kings Volume 4, Lolo Jones, track and field star. So that bottom cluster of cards on the left-hand side, you can see her going over, I believe she's going over a high hurdle. Lolo Jones, big name in track and field. I remember when the Olympics were last year, her name was everywhere. Hopefully they will be again. I know the Olympics are coming back to the U.S., I believe. Are they coming back to Los Angeles? I'll have to check on that. I think last I heard, is it this summer, actually? They're coming to Los Angeles. Let me know in the comments if you've got intel on that. As you can tell, I don't watch the Summer Olympics intently. When they're on, I do enjoy throwing them on once in a while. I will probably have them on in the background while I'm working on cards. But I'm not a diehard on the Olympics. But I love to watch a little bit of it. And I watch some of the Winter Olympics too. I'm a downhill skier. My kids love to snowboard, so I enjoy watching some of those events. But Lolo Jones sold for $225 for me here. And then our last card sale for this group of freight categories, my lone WWE sale. So you remember a couple weeks ago, WWE was a big chunk of my sales. Pro wrestling was a big chunk of my sales. It just ebbs and flows. That's what seems to happen here. So this week I had one sale. It was a green parallel, and this one was a rookie card. I didn't even include that in the listing. It probably would have helped me if I had it in the listing. So a Braun Breaker rookie card, green parallel. I made that sale for $2.50. This was the WWE NXT set from Panini. Braun Breaker, if you didn't know, he is the son of one of the legendary Steiner brothers. He's got all the makings of a superstar in wrestling. I believe he will be called up to the main roster within the next year. He's gotten a lot of seasoning down in NXT. He's had a title run there. He's got the athleticism. He's got the look. I think they're trying to get him a little more mic time and develop that a little bit more. So pleased to see one of his rookie cards moving, $2.50. All right, so that's all my sales for this week in terms of listings and taking a look at those cards. Let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, what some of the surprises were. Again, hit the like button. If it's your first time here, hit that sub button so you can get notified when I've got new content out here. But we still have one of my favorite segments. We added this last week. It's going to be a continuing segment, something I really enjoy doing. It is, are you ready, Stu? It is the Dude, Where's My Card? We track all the destinations our cards sell to every week and put them on the map. I really, I haven't pulled the trigger on this yet, but I want to get one of those tourist destination maps where you go in and you're like, put your push pin where you're from. And, you know, when you're visiting these tourist sites, I want to do something like that here in my office. I think it would be really cool. I'm still trying to pick the right map and decide which one I want to use. But this is my version of that. So you can see I've got a list of all the destinations I sold to. Yeah, on the map on the right-hand side, you will see home base is here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I like to see what's the reach of my sales for the week. So some interesting sales locations this week. They've all been domestic this week, not necessarily in the continental United States, but you remember last week I had a sale to Puerto Rico. I seem to get some recurring sales to Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. territory. But this week, everything was in the 48 continuous United States, with the exception of one card that went out to Honolulu, Hawaii. Reminds me of my honeymoon in Hawaii every time. I think of that sale going to Honolulu. We went to that island. We were on Waikiki Beach, spent some time in Honolulu seeing the sights, did a lot of hiking and visited the whole island. Would love to go back there sometime. I love it when I make a card sale to Honolulu because it takes me right back to those memories. All right, so as you can see, pretty solid congregation of sales out in that eastern seaboard again, the eastern half of the U.S., a little bit out in California, Nevada, those western 11, a little bit in the high plains. The Dallas, Texas market is typically a high congregation of sales for me as well. I almost went down to Mexico. We got way down south in Texas, not quite to the border, but we were getting there. So let's run through this. We got Stylesville, Indiana, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Santa Monica, California, Napoleon, Ohio, Asheville, North Carolina, Rancho Cordova, California, shout out, Cambridge, Indiana, Apollo Beach, Florida, Madera, California, Manchester, New Hampshire, Honolulu, Hawaii, getting some more love, Cookeville, Tennessee, might be some of my relatives out there. My grandmother's side of the family, or my mother's side of the family, I should say. My grandparents both came from Tennessee in that area, and their last name was Cook. Where are we at? Kaysville, Utah, Bedford, Texas, Litchfield Park, Arizona. I believe I have some recurring sales to Litchfield Park, Arizona. Gibsonia, PA. Where are you at? Millville, New Jersey. We'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. Kingsville, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Wesley Chapel, Florida, Fulton, Missouri, how you doing? Princeton, West Virginia, Fort Worth, Texas, Pahrump, Nevada, Fairborn, Ohio, Bloomington, Illinois, Los Angeles, California, Falls Church, Virginia, Winterville, North Carolina, 2 sales, that's right, 2 sales to Irving, Texas. This one's a tricky one. I love those Pennsylvania names. Let's see if I can nail it. If you know this city and I say it wrong, I expect you to correct me in the comments. I'm going to say Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Ipswich, Massachusetts, Little River, South Carolina, Sydney, Montana, Harrodsburg, Kentucky, Ames, Iowa. We love you, Ames, Iowa, the heart of Iowa. Okay, another new name for me. So if you don't know, I have spent nearly my whole working career working for a large transportation provider in North America. And as part of that career, I spent a lot of years dispatching semi-trucks. And a lot of that time was spent in the Western 11 states. So when I hit a name in the Western 11 that I haven't heard of, I get a little excited. So I am going to see if I can pronounce this one. I'm going to say Pioche, Nevada, Watertown, South Dakota, Morgan Hill, California, Lawrenceville, Illinois, Athens, Georgia. Believe that was the home of the legendary rock band REM. Boise, Idaho, and last but not least, Shelby, Montana. Thank you, Shelby. Great spread of deliveries this week of our cards here at JC3 Cards and Collectibles. I love looking at this map every week. I really enjoy putting it together every week. I do this as I make the sales. I'll put that little pin drop on, add that name to the list. It's super fun for me to see where our cards are going. Hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Now, a little bonus time today. Not only did I look at where my cards are going, but I wanted to single out somebody for a little more. The more you know. So I picked 2 cities this week to share a little more information. One of them you probably know if you are a sports fan. The other one, I think you're probably like me and said, where is that place? So we've got an extra special, extra point for Pioche, Lincoln County, Nevada. So this town I had never heard of before. I've spent time quite a bit in Nevada driving around, and I've dispatched trucks all over Nevada. I have family out that way, not too far away, but I had never heard of this town. So this town in Lincoln County, Nevada, is kind of along the eastern border, kind of up around the connection with Utah's border. It is named for French financier and land speculator. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Francois Louis Alfred Pilchet. It is a population of 1,002. This town goes back to the early silver mines, and it was known as a rough and tumble mining town, I believe in the 1800s. Actually, yeah, point of fact, 60% of homicides in 1871, 1872 were in and around the time of Pilchet. That is actually spawned some books, I believe, about Boot Hill to come out. But that is a crazy number. There were a lot of gunfights. When you think of those old Westerns, this was a town that kind of inspired some of that. So this week, JC3 Cards and Collectibles is happy to say, I hope you enjoy your card. It was great making a sale to Pilchet, Nevada. Honorable mention this week in our destinations, Millville, New Jersey. Okay, Millville is in the South Jersey area and is best known for being the childhood home of Mike Trout, also known as the Millville Meteor. Millville's got a population of 27,491, fairly decent sized town there. Seems like they got plenty of things to do. And the name is a nod to the numerous mills, both steel mills, iron mills, lumber mills that were originally started in that area. So hope you enjoyed a little inside edition as to where some of my cards are going this week. The family works hard to get these listings out there and get these out to you as quickly as possible. I really enjoy sharing this information with you. Stu's always happy to be here with us. See, he said so himself. Give me a like. Give me a sub if it's your first time out there. Excited to see some comments on what you saw this week. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you were surprised by, what makes sense to you. Until next time, this is Charlie at JC3 Cards and Collectibles with my buddy Stu. Uh-oh, he's getting a little tired, saying peace out.